let that song play all the way through. I was late by a couple seconds and the song kept playing. But anyway, hi. It's me. It's you. It's us. We're here. Oh boy, hope everybody's doing okay. I'm having a weird day. I'm having just a very strange day. I feel like I did something to my intercostal muscles. Like I'm having just some like soreness in my rib cage and my chest. Yeah. Mid music jump scare, exactly. Hi, Mama. Hi, Drea. Hello. Faulty Branches. I'm glad that y'all were enjoying the music. Yeah. Jazz Dog had requested that since I enjoy some of his old chiptune stuff, that I should go ahead and put some more recent music that's not something that he made in high school. And I was like, okay, that's fair. So I've been playing some of that stuff the last couple of times. I didn't realize how much I like chiptune as a genre. Also, you might notice that I'm sitting down today. I am trying to take it a little bit easier. I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm just continually getting knocked on my ass by like depression or other aspects of my various illnesses. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a whole fucking thing. Exactly. Zula. Oh, hi, YouTube chat. I didn't say hello to you. Y'all are not going by your usernames now. You're going by your ats again. So I'm sorry if anybody's username isn't what they want in chat. I don't have any control over this. Brody, Celeste, hello, Zula, Bloody Hatter, Banana Brains, Thistle Electric. I noticed the music sounds more polished. Yeah. It's newer stuff. So, yeah, I've got all kinds of stuff on my mind lately, and it's like none of it's particularly interesting. So, I struggle a little bit with continuing to do streams while I'm depressed. And I'm sitting specifically because I have like my orthostatic intolerance. So I'm trying to be more purposeful and like sit more and exercise more like thoughtfully. I don't know. It's hard to explain all of it. Anyway, what's up, Viren? Hello. Intercostal. Yeah, I can't keep up with all these denominations. Too many. But yes, hello. We are gonna take it easy today. It may or may not be a shorter stream. I guess I was kind of thinking if I sit down, I'll probably get tired later. So maybe I'll be able to get a little bit more time out of it. Cause yeah, I feel like I'm not sleeping super great. And obviously that just makes it hard to function for the entire rest of the day. It makes it hard to do any of the rest of the stuff that you need to do. So, you know, I'm doing what I was just reading something or watching something or something. I don't know what it was. About like, dude, I have to try not to get super anxiety because I'm like, as I'm sitting here and I'm like talking, it's like it does hurt. And I have that like, oh, I hope I'm not having a heart attack thing. Man, I hate it's so obnoxious. In all likelihood, it's just muscular pain. But man, I get so freaked out by this stuff. And it makes sense, you know? I'm like, got a lot of different health stuff a lot of the time. And so it's easy. And I also just like have anxiety, and some of those physical symptoms manifest kind of like anxiety does. Ugh. I spent most of my Thanksgiving break curled up in bed, avoiding existential. Life is just blurg these days. Yeah. Ooh, I Fight Dragons. We have an I Fight Dragons fan in chat. Yes. They're one of my favorite bands. I went and saw them in concert a couple years ago, and it was a lot of fun. Also, Goodbye Viking. Okay, never heard of Goodbye Viking. Just trying to take it easy, you know? Just trying to relax. Did you just say you've seen I Fight Dragons 13 times? That's crazy. I'm waiting to get my appendix checked because it felt like it was pulsing today. That's crazy. I'm like about to sign up for health insurance. I haven't done it yet, but I'm about to. I don't think I've seen any band more than like a couple times. I used to be more into concerts when I was younger, though. Now I'm like, wow, that's loud, and there's a lot of people. Kind of thing you enjoy more when you're younger, I suppose. Yeah, I do think it's a muscular thing, because like if I'm like expelling a lot of air, that's when it's like the most painful. Ugh. You'd think Lux, a dragon, would not be a fan of people who fight dragons. Yeah, that's true. they're it's questionable whether they're people. They're robots pretending to be people pretending to be robots, I think is what it is, or people pretending to be robots pretending to be people. I don't know. It's one of those. I've never been to a concert. Well, it's not for everybody. They're expensive. They can be fun. I generally wouldn't recommend it in today's day and age. You know, that's kind of my thing. If I were trying not to get COVID, I would not. So the thing is that I did go to a concert, and I think it was 2022 or 21. Regardless, it was when we still gave a shit about COVID precautions. The venue, I can't remember where masks. I cannot remember if masks were required. I think they might have been, but I do very distinctly remember that either you needed to bring your proof of vaccination card or you needed to have like proof of a recent negative COVID test in order to go. So, like, yeah, we still can do those things. We would just have to actually care about doing them safely. I've been to 200 concerts over the years. Oh my goodness. Ooh, I want to say I think I've been to up to 20 concerts if we're not counting like choir, like choir concerts or like orchestra concerts for when you're in high school. Yeah, so if we're just talking about going to a concert, like yeah, probably like 20. Ugh. My mom was really into going to concerts and she would like specifically budget to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, didn't they rename concerts to petri dishes? Truly. Wife and I went to a concert last night. There was a small group of douches blowing their vape everywhere, and they left a pile of beer cans where they were standing on their way out. Oh wow, yeah. People just seem honestly, I was reading something this week too that was like sometimes the kind of brain dysfunction that you can get from COVID might not show up in the kind of ways that we consider to be like obvious, right? If somebody is having trouble concentrating or if they're having trouble with their memory, we might think of those as more obvious signs of COVID long term brain damage stuff. But what we might not be thinking about is the emotional dysregulation. And of course, I've talked about that previously when I'm talking about things like it seems as though there's a correlation between like car accidents and COVID because people seem to drive more recklessly. But it could also be stuff like your empathy not working correctly. And that was what I was looking at most recently. It was just somebody speculating basically that like it seems weird, right? Like that people are so willing to just go, well, whatever, I don't care. When it did seem like as a group, we did kind of care a few years ago, right? And it's like, what could have changed? Well, perhaps the part of people's brains that regulates their emotions and allows them to engage their empathy might be not working correctly anymore. So, and I worry about that too sometimes where I'm like, am I more angry than I used to be? Is that like a COVID thing or is that just like a the world is a bad place and I am not getting the kind of support that I need type of thing, you know? Hard to say. Yeah, maybe the economy will get so bad that concerts will have so few people, it'll be social distanced by default. Yikes. Yeah. Tough when you're there to see a band where people tend to sing along and the secondhand smoke fucking with your voice without even having the nicotine high. Yeah, it's a fucking bummer. I'm actually far less angry than I used to be. Yeah, I wish that was the case for me. I do feel like it's just been a growing part of my life for the past decade that, like, I don't know. Oh my gosh. I think, man, do I just need to go? I did just eat, so I'm going to take this magnesium and see if that helps with my chest pain that I'm dealing with. Because it's definitely, I'm pretty sure it's muscular. Magnesium. COVID seemingly broke everyone's brains. I would wager a lot of it is just psychological, and people just suck more now because they were asked to give up something for a short while. I think that that could adequately explain, like, some of the, like, for some select groups, I agree, but I don't think that that could be the case for, like, most people. Like, it just feels like such a widespread abandonment that I don't know. I feel like it would be hard to just chalk it up to like 3 months ago, or sorry, like 3 months of quote unquote lockdown 5 years ago, right? It's like when people are talking about performance of children in schools and they're trying to say, well, that 1 year of doing school from home, it's like, can you possibly say that's like having ongoing developmental problems 5 years later? Like, versus the likelihood that like catching this virus over and over again is causing a cumulative damage kind of thing. I don't know. What's up, Baphomet? I saw someone say yesterday Baphomet, and I almost direct messaged you, and then I just decided that maybe that would not be, it would be come out of fucking nowhere. I was like, I'll tell you in chat. But it's like, isn't the phrase like going down a rabbit hole a little bit different for furries? Anyway, I've become more petty as I age. Sure. I think more and more people are realizing they can get away with being openly selfish. Yeah, maybe. Sure. Rib pain upon inhaling. It's actually like worse on exhale right now, but it feels like a big like a big thing right here in the middle of my chest, and that's why I'm like kind of freaked out and going like, "Oh, is that a heart attack? Am I having a heart attack?" Because but it's been happening like all morning. It's just more noticeable now because I'm like moving and talking and especially like projecting my voice, and I think it's like I think it might be a muscle inside my rib cage. Usually when my muscle inside my rib cage hurts, it's like not in the middle of my fucking chest. Anyway, I do take ibuprofen. I just try not to, but I don't know. I might as well just fucking take. I'm gonna go grab it. Wait, hold on. I have it in here. Haha. Like, yeah, maybe I'll just give up and instead of trying to tough it out, just take the ibuprofen and not feel like I'm having a heart attack the entire stream. There we go. 864 Kit, welcome to the website. Says, I had a recent discussion group with my trans support group about how internalized transphobia affects our community. This relates because I think at its base, it's a lack of empathy within our own community. Yeah, possibly. Luxbuprofen, true. And it doesn't feel like congestion. I don't think so. Like, it's just been a little bit sore all morning. Ugh. And my back was a little bit sore earlier, but that's kind of gone away now. I don't know what congestion would... No, I don't feel like I have any shit in my lungs. Ibuprofen equal ibuprofens. I was just looking at something about how disabled people have to spend more money to have like the same quality of life as other people. And I'm like, damn, if that ain't true. Hi, Milena. Because like I'm about to buy like a wedge, like a foam wedge to put under my entire mattress, which I think I talked to you about last time. I just haven't actually purchased it yet because I haven't talked to my partner about exactly how much I can get away with on this. Like, can I get away with the full, like the big 7-inch one, or am I gonna have to stop at you know, like the shorter 5-inch one? Like, is my partner gonna be negatively impacted by that? Because I'd rather get like the biggest impact that I can get, because it's supposed to help with orthostatic intolerance. Like, it's supposed to help improve your blood flow, and that like helps you sleep better, and then also like helps you with your daytime symptoms. So yeah, I don't know. I've been feeling it all day because of weather. My voice is terrible right now because of congestion. Yeah. I do know that it's about, like, I think that we're about to start like a solid week of rain here very soon. So maybe there is like a weather change happening. I just don't know why like my chest would be so affected by it. Turtlebird Day says, I think like with most things, this is probably a culmination or combination. Some may have actual like empathetic stunting because of COVID. Others are just seeing less pushback for being self-centered, and others want the world to be worse for the sake of profit. Totally. Yeah. Ooh. Did I tell you guys that one time I got a scan of my chest for chest pain, probably similar to this? But I found out that I have a pectus excavatum, which is like my sternum or whatever. Like, this area is like slightly indented, and that's apparently something that happens with connective tissue disorders. Like, basically she just said like, oh, you suspect that you have a connective tissue disorder, and I can confirm that you have a pectus excavatum, which is consistent with connective tissue issues. So like, I've never been diagnosed properly, but I do have like some indications that that might be what's going on. So I kind of wonder sometimes if like my body just is like built wrong, but like only in tiny ways that are barely noticeable, except that like it culminates in like chronic pain and like exhaustion and stuff. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking about health issues a lot today, but it's like very hard to ignore when it's happening. Oh my God. Fiona says it's 10 degrees Fahrenheit with a wind chill of -15. Ew. Also, sometimes I don't know if this is a pectus excavatum thing or what, but sometimes when I'm stretching like up, like, you know, this, my chest will like it makes a little like popping, but it doesn't feel like anything. Like, it doesn't, there's no like sense of relief or pain. It just pops sometimes, and I don't know what that is. Yeah, I haven't yet, irreverent hippie. I don't have health insurance, and I haven't for a long time, and I'm about to pay a shit ton of money over the next year to get health insurance and start working towards some diagnosis. So getting my POTS diagnosed, or EDS, or maybe I have sleep apnea or MCAS or whatever the fuck the problem is. I'm going to try to aggressively pursue some answers this year and hope that I get somewhere with that. Like, just a lot of little things. Your chest popping is your soul anchors breaking. Oh no! It's gonna leave. The sternum is 3 plates and sometimes they pop like knuckles, if I remember correctly. Not a doctor. Yeah. My partner has Ehlers-Danlos and has random sternum popping. Okay, good to know. Phantom chest pains are common with EDS. Yeah, for sure. Dimmy Fiend, thank you. Appreciate you subbing to the channel. And thank you for enjoying the content. Hope you come back sometime soon. I'm trying really hard to stay regular with my stream schedule, even if I do like shorter streams sometimes. I'm like, okay, genuinely, even if I'm only here for an hour today because my chest just won't stop hurting. Yeah. I am also getting very distracted by reading chat today. Everything that can go wrong will. This is a Murphy's Law stream. I can't think of my thoughts. I'm distracted. This is a typical December in Minnesota. You're in Minnesota and it's 10F already? This destroys my sinuses, and talking to people every day is rough this time of year. Oh, man. Yeah. My chest pops sometimes too. Guess my soul anchors aren't needed because the ship has beached. Yeah. Hi, Naomi. Hope you're doing good. Hope you're staying warm today. Good thoughts for Naomi. Interesting numbers and stats I saw when I was doing research for work school today. Americans are trending toward a larger percentage of us believing that gender and sex assigned at birth cannot differ, while simultaneously Americans are trending towards supporting anti-discrimination policies that protect trans people. Are these like... Are we asking the same groups of people these questions? And is this one of those things that are like, it's like how you ask the question gets a totally different answer kind of thing? Jack got clapped last night by AI for a gun montage at the beginning of a clip she was showing, banned from streaming for a week. Yeah, you can't show firearms in a live stream, so that kind of makes sense. But it does suck. Just talk about tea. You know you want to discuss tea. Actually, I did just get new tea this week. I was running low on my green tea, and so I decided that I wanted to get something new. And I'm reading about like possibly having PCOS, and that might have like insulin resistance, which is like not diabetes, but it's like kind of similar to diabetes. And so I'm kind of considering like, okay, is that part of why it's so hard for me to lose weight? Like, is that... So I'm like, okay, what are some things that you can do? So I'm trying dietarily, like, I'm going to try to cut back to more like whole foods, less processed, maybe try some gluten-free options for some things. Obviously, like, that's still going to be a heavily processed product, but if gluten is one of my problems, then whatever, that's the low FODMAP type thing. So I'm kind of doing like a low FODMAP, also kind of trying to do a low carb situation. And I decided ginger tea would be good to try because it's one of the ones that you get recommended for like anti-inflammation. So anti-inflammation wise, I got some green tea with ginger and it's really good. Like, it's super duper duper yummy. There's like a tanginess to it. You know how you say tips are always appreciated, never required? This is a two-way thing. Streaming is always appreciated, but never required. I appreciate that for you, the people. But as far as like YouTube is concerned, if I'm not uploading regularly, which I'm not, then I feel like at least streaming regularly because that is still content on the channel. I definitely don't want to like lose too much momentum in that regard. So, again, even if I'm only here for like an hour today, then at least I was here on schedule as I've said that I was going to be, So I'm following through on my promise, and YouTube can continue to favorably view me. It was literally a 1-second clip at the beginning of a montage at the beginning of a separate video. She had no way of knowing or preparing, no warning. Yeah, that's fair. Listen, I don't really watch clips on stream because I'm like, it's unpredictable. Like, is the creator going to have some automatic thing that comes to get me, or I don't know. I thought you were talking about testosterone. No, actual tea. I wish it could handle the burn of ginger. It doesn't burn in tea format. I just bought like some green tea with ginger from the store, and it's got like a tanginess, but it doesn't like burn. My spouse swears by drinking turmeric teas for anti-inflammation too. I've heard turmeric is good. Yeah. A non-alcoholic hot toddy. Hot chamomile tea, lemon juice, ginger syrup, honey. Ooh, yes. That sounds nice. It's definitely about how they asked the questions. I can link the study if you want, but they did report the questions they asked. Okay. So it's like, yeah, when you're asking people like, do you think trans people should have legal protections? They're probably going to generally say yes. But maybe if you ask things like, is it possible to change your sex, or are gender and sex the same things? They might not even understand the context of that question. My granny used to make homemade horseradish tea. Wow. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I'm burping. Yes, the algorithm is a cruel mistress. That's so true. The Burn of Ginger would be a great autobiography title for a redheaded bodybuilder, or a girl named Ginger's first trip to Burning Man. Truly. I think I'm going to grab a handful of salt too and just see if that helps. Okay. Handful of salt. Always good. Based on how Lux is rubbing its chest, I'm pretty sure it's burping itself. I have chest pain, and I'm trying to like keep it from freaking me out so much that I have to quit stream because I'm having too bad of anxiety. Sylvestris, welcome to the website chat. Yeah, if y'all don't know, this is my website chat, luxander.net/live. I do not dual stream to Twitch, at least not right now. What did I miss, gang? Not very much. Not much. We're just chilling. Very few people understand the difference between genotypic and phenotypic sex. I just think that people have a really reductionist view about this whole subject. Like, sex is obviously a cluster category. There isn't any one defining feature that, like, makes the whole thing make sense. Like, there isn't any one thing that makes the whole thing make sense. I'm sorry, it's so complicated, but That's the world that we live in. My cat has been such a B word about stealing my chair over and over again. It's crazy. RB, hello, says I was on the line a while back asking how to speak with senior counselors, etc., to help with bathrooms. I spoke to Union about the director using the T-slur, and they said it was too long ago to really do anything about it now. However, I'm officially a union rep now and training to do the work. Fuck yes. Yes. That makes sense. They're like, it was too long ago for us to really address it now behaviorally or whatever, but like now that you're in it, if and when things happen, you can be like, yo, I'm here to make sure you know that that's not okay. Where is the void? May I see the void? I wish to see the void. He's over there on a box. And I don't want to go get him because he's a punk. Thankfully, the website doesn't randomly change your name. That's so true. Yeah. My website isn't going to keep randomly flip-flopping between which display name it's going to put up here. Actual conversation I've had so many times. Sex is a bimodal distribution of multiple dimorphic characteristics. Oh, so how many sexes are there? Facepalm every time. Yeah, it's like there's 2 boxes that we draw around naturally existing clusters of characteristics. Like, Jesus Christ. I think finally some of the stuff that I ordered for him is starting to ship out. So I got him like a painkiller and a special new food and some treats that are actually supplements. So I'm hoping that life starts to improve for him. So if I can breathe and talk without like moving the position of my chest very much, I'm like having a lot less pain. I'm just doing a lot of belly breathing and a lot of like trying not to move. Isn't this great? You get to see it live. I feel like a lot of time I'm feeling pretty okay, or at least pretty good on stream. But for me to be like actively dealing with shit, like this is just what my life is. It's a bunch of really small inconveniences that just like ruin your whole day. I saw a feral cat last weekend. I love seeing cats outside. Just be a video game NPC and speak using only your face. True, exactly. Yes. If you like trans bathroom drama, I can tell you my master plan to cripple or destroy the Texas bathroom ban going into effect tomorrow. Sure, what are you doing? I really wish that people could hold on to the ability that children have where they hear about something complicated and don't try to smash it into a box. They just go, okay, and move on while letting their brain absorb and adapt in the background. Yeah, just go, okay, and move on. I know so many disabled or chronically ill trans people. I wonder how much of that is actually related or systemic. Yeah, I actually just gave a talk recently for the line on the Patreon, which you can still go watch for $5. It'll be public in a couple months. But essentially, trans people and other minority groups are more likely to be disabled. So I think, and then like there's like different possible reasons for that. it does seem like there might be some kind of genetic connection between being trans and having a connective tissue disorder, because it's just so common that, and it feel like, I think that it is slightly more common amongst trans people to have connective tissue disorders. Or actually, it might not even be related to being trans. It might be more like autism and connective tissue disorders are tied together, and autistic people are just more likely to be willing to indulge their feelings if they feel like they might have gender dysphoria. So it seems like there is kind of a connection, or somehow, between being trans and connective tissue disorders. But also, I think a lot of disability is caused by chronic stress and chronic inflammation in the body, because like females, trans people, queer people, and people of color are all statistically more likely to be disabled on like a population level. So it does seem as though like something about the fact that they're stressed, or like the fact that they can't take off the time off of work to recover, or something is causing that. So, but yeah, basically, like trans people are more likely than the general population to be disabled for like a couple of different reasons. Because yeah, like stress is associated with inflammation. And so I just think that like if you're in a group that is more stressed, can't take the time off work, still has to show up for your children and stuff like that, where men, and especially white men, just like have the money and have the PTO and like don't have to continue taking care of someone when they're sick. Yeah, no, minority stress is like when you are experiencing systemic prejudice every day and your life is more stressful and people are shitty to you in ways that they aren't shitty to like white men. And like the fact that you're usually also less fortunate with your job and housing situation. So the kind of stresses that people have when they're poor are compounded like in those ways. So I think that's what is meant by minority stress. Hey, that's awesome. This is my capstone for my master's, so I appreciate you talking about it. My take so far is that systemic discrimination equals more health disparities overall. Totally, yeah. We're having people around the state go into the multi occupancy bathrooms of the offices of politicians who voted for the bill and record the process of entering that restroom, not inside. Since the bill puts liability on state funded facilities if they don't enact undefined, quote, reasonable steps, which they refuse to define in floor debate, to keep trans people out of the bathrooms, we can create instances that put that principle to the test and force them to define reasonable steps in court. Individuals are not liable at all, and forcing them to define the law protects our public services from liability while only putting these politicians' own offices in danger of losing money. Hey, that's fun. I'm glad that you guys have like the ability to mobilize on that. We're calling this bathroom banarchy, and we have the ACLU and Equality Texas on our side. Best case scenario is that the statute is struck down entirely as the unenforceable garbage it is. Right. This was my issue in Kansas when Kansas passed their law around bathrooms, is like there's no enforcement method, but that ultimately wasn't the point of that law. That the point of that law, it's like they started out as a bathroom ban, and then they just were like, oh, by the way, also it means that you can't change the gender marker on your ID, which I think that was actually recently struck down by the Supreme Court, I want to say, or maybe it hasn't made it all the way to the Supreme Court of Kansas yet, but I did hear some amount of good news that, like, some other judge decided, like, oh, it's actually not appropriate for you to block trans people from changing their IDs. So, cool, whatever. It doesn't change the fact that my name is on Chris Kobach's desk as, like, a list of people who've changed their sex before. Annoying. That's why I moved. I don't have to deal with that shit here. Ideally, at least. Now stuck in the process of getting my passport. Yeah, I still don't have one. I haven't really made any moves to get one, and I guess I kind of don't plan to right now. I don't really plan on going anywhere, so... I just saw something, and I don't know if it was actually true, but it was, like, allegedly there's some law they're trying to pass or some rule they're trying to change so that you can't have dual citizenship as a person who's living in the United States, or, like, maybe just at all. Like, they don't want people to have dual citizenship, United States and elsewhere, because it creates, like, a loyalty problem. I don't know if that was actually the case or it might have just been fake. The Kansas Constitution has proven to be surprisingly malleable of late. Isn't that always the case? Isn't that always the way? These right-wingers. Oh, gosh. It was nice to take a little bit of time off for Thanksgiving. I just wish that I felt better now. I'm just waiting to be able to leave US without still paying US tax. No fucking kidding. Isn't that so stupid that, like, you move to another country and you have to continue being taxed here? It's like, I didn't earn my income in the United States, so fuck you for trying to make me file income taxes. They make the laws vague to cause over-enforcement and put the liability on facilities to try and defund places like universities and SNAP offices that actually help the community. They wanted to avoid discrimination cases against the government by not putting legal penalty on individuals and counting on facilities to do that part, but they seem to have forgotten that their own workplaces are covered under this law. Sure. Trans Unlimited is now in the website chat. What's up? It's a proposed bill at the moment, which has not been put forward. Okay. It still matters, right? We still should be paying attention when there are proposed bills, because we can call and intervene at the earliest opportunity and tell our legislators that we don't want that stuff. But yeah, I wasn't saying like they just passed it or anything. I'm like, I've heard about this thing and I don't know, I'm not sure if it's true or what stage of development it's at. Keep an eye on the news and you might see us. Yes. Yes. I hope that, I do hope that you get traction with it, as far as the spectacle and the actual challenging and changing things. My parents are tax exiles? I don't know what that means. Sylvestris says, I came out as a trans man April 4th of 24. I got my name changed, and then the Orange Lunatic came into power. It's been a nightmare since. I went to the DMV, and my passport was taken from me. I didn't think that they could do that. I'm working with the ACLU still, but now I'm waiting on New Jersey to send me my new birth certificate with gender marker and new name. It's been 20 weeks so far because of a misspelling on my middle name, despite it being correct on the paperwork I filed, just not on the certificate itself. Jesus Christ. There's all kinds of like getting jerked around, right? That keeps happening with trans people's documentation. Trans Unlimited says, I've been trying to get some of my other trans feminine friends with male sex markers that they can't change here in Tennessee to go topless with me in public and see how quick they decide we are indecently exposed. Yeah, I mean, they don't seem to care about that contradiction. Like, they will happily penalize you under like female nudity laws and then put you in a male prison. Like, they don't care. You are making a statement to like the press, and I'm sure there are people who will care about that, but the cops and the punitive system, like, they are all too happy to have that double standard. Ugh. Oh man. My spine, dude. Yes, it is what Michael Smile Demon Knowles said all those years ago, is about eliminating, quote, transgenderism from public life. Can't be trans in public. Man, I need a haircut. Like, my hair looks goofy as fuck right now. Also, this part of my hair is standing up because I was sleeping on it weird, apparently, and it will not lay down. My one good thing about Minnesota here, name gender was pretty smooth to change last year. Yeah. I mean, here in Oregon, as far as your driver's license is concerned, you can just say whatever you want it to say on there. You don't have to medically transition or anything. I don't know how easy it is to change your birth certificate. I would be dependent on Kansas, obviously, for that. But and then changing your name seems pretty easy. My younger sibling did it, and like, it took almost no time at all, and they didn't have to even go to court or anything. Uh-oh, transing publicly on the train. No! Synthis, welcome to the chat. Opinion on Therians? I don't care. Boy, do I not care what other people identify as. I hope they have fun. I hope that they love their lives. I hope that they win $1 million. What's up, Jess? Hello. Faulty says, I bet ice is not going to do well with the actual winter conditions up in Minnesota and such. Those untrained goons slipping on ice is going to be half our feeds for a while. Potentially. I want to get some bongo drums, or just like download some of those some sounds. Or not the bongos. It's oh yeah, isn't that what that is? Like the like the Scooby-Doo sounds. The bathroom bans are so trans people don't use public bathrooms. The passport names, they're less likely to obtain a passport and travel, less likely to seek a passport. Sports bans, less likely to participate in sports at all. Yeah, I mean, these are all functionally ways to keep trans people from existing in public. So, yeah, like, if you can't use public restrooms, then, you know, you can't really go anywhere for longer than a couple of hours. And then, how can you have a job? How can you go to school if you can't use the bathroom there in a way that is safe and dignified? The banana slip sound? Yeah, exactly. Banana peel slip. That is like the one bad thing about the PNW is that it doesn't really like snow and ice up here very much. Well, I mean, of course, in like the mountains, but I don't live in the mountains. I wish I had more good stuff going on that I could talk about. I'm just like, oh yeah, fucking, I'm pretty sure one of my packages got stolen this week. I'm like, yay. Hello, fellow PNWer. Yes, I'm a recent transplant. I say recent, and it's still fairly recent, but like, if you guys think about it, I'm coming up on, okay, so it's December now, which means next month will be 1 year since I got here. And I have not left the state of Oregon since I got into it. So the PNW is designed so that those who want snow and ice can buy a Subaru and head up into the mountains. That's so true. Title VII, as ruled by Bostock versus Clayton County at the SCOTUS in 2020, technically overrules any state laws prohibiting trans employees from using the bathroom of their gender identity. This was clarified in an EEOC notice in 2024. Been looking at Salem in future. Salem is very well situated. Like, because it's right smack dab in the middle of the valley. It's like you're 1 hour from everything, which I think is like really awesome. It's like not, I don't know, like I think it's not as progressive as Portland, I think, but it's like if what you want is to be able to go to any of the places, it's very well situated. UC Has Been Hotel Season 2. I don't watch Has Been Hotel. This is so bright. Okay, I might have to fuck around with my exposure settings now, but I'm like, it's blinding me. It's so bright. Equal employment opportunity. Okay, I thought equal opportunity was in there, but the extra E was throwing me off. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Thank you. Salem is still quite blue. Further south, however, it turns rapidly bright red. Wait, I thought that Eugene was supposed to be like super progressive. Is it as pretty there as TV shows make me think it is? Yeah, I mean, it's pretty fucking beautiful. It's hard to deny. Like, the coast is beautiful. The tide pools are so cool. the mountains. I haven't been here for like one full winter. So like how the mountains look through the like cold, the like more snowy parts of winter, like I don't know. But I'm excited to see. I can't endorse Salem, Oregon as a place to live solely due to the fact that my late Nazi dad lived there. Well, there's Proud Boys in Portland as well. Like, it's definitely not, you know, nowhere is immune to that stuff. Excuse me. Still doing many worlds. Yes. If you guys don't know, I do a podcast with Demon Mama and Gayfesh, and that's going to be, what are we doing next? We're in the middle of doing Star Trek movies, Star Trek The Next Generation movies, and we just recorded the episode for Star Trek First Contact, which is the one with the Borg Queen, and now we're going to do Star Trek Insurrections. That'll be the next one. I don't know where we're at as far as the podcast actually releasing, because we're like we are ahead of it by a few weeks. We record, and then the episode doesn't come out for a few weeks. So like it's still really bright. Yeah, Mabs. Have good therapy time. EEOC is the federal organization that you report your workplace discrimination to, and then they investigate and potentially go to court on your behalf. I'm actually in a case with them right now against my former employer. Okay. I hope that you're doing well with that. Like, I hope that you get the justice. I loved First Contact. I kind of loved it too. I also liked Generations. Like people were like, shitting on it, and I actually liked it a lot. So whatever. But yeah, the Borg Queen, and because we watched that movie together, my partner was like, "Oh, let's we were eating dinner, and he was like, "Let's, while we're eating dinner, go ahead and put on the first episode of The Next Generation," which was an hour and a half long, and I didn't know that.
Shiloh gifted 5 tier 1 subscriptions.
Thank you, Shiloh. That's so kind. That's like $25. Thank you so much. Poggies, indeed. Bringing us up to a quarter of our goal to open the treasure chest, which is definitely not a mimic. It's fucking December now. Oh my god. It's December now. I changed my calendar. Now it says December. But it's so horny. Star Trek The Next Generation is so horny. I was like, why? Why are they so horny? And I was telling Gayfesh about it, and he was like, well, it kind of is less crazy horny after the first season. So I was like, okay, maybe that might make some sense as to like, why did I not remember how horny this TV show was? Because I've seen it. But yeah, went ahead and started watching that from the beginning. I brought that up because like the First Contact is such a horny movie. It's such an aggressively horny film. Nuclear vessels. Is that what you're going with? Yeah. Star Trek 4 is a good one. Generations is not the horny one. No, it's definitely not horny. It's First Contact that's horny. I hope that whatever Demon Mama is up to, her life is going well. Yeah, she is like learning stuff about how to code and like making video games and shit like that. So she's definitely keeping busy. I can totally see Star Trek being more horny when your needs are met and you're not stressing out of your mind. You have more time to think about the aliens. Yes, that's fair. That's fair. I mean, when you have a lot of leisure time, what else would you do? I bet that holodeck needs to be sanitized like every hour or two. Which one had the Borg lady in it? 7 of 9 was in, I think, Voyager. I haven't seen Voyager, though. The only TV show ones that I've watched is I've seen all of the original series and all of the Next Generation. Alice Krieg. Is that? Yeah, Alice Krieg is the Borg Queen. She's so cool. For your own trans reviews, I have to suggest Monkey Man. Okay, hold up. Let me pull up my big master list of all the fucking movies on the list. Docs, my Google Docs. All the fucking movies on the list. All the fucking movies on the list. Where are the movies on the list? Okay, what did you say it was called? Monkey Man? Monkey... Nope, there is no movie on this list called Monkey anything. So I'll go down here. I scroll down, I scroll down, I scroll down, I scroll down. You said it's trans-related somehow? Monkey Man? Monkey Man. Okay, I'll put it on my list. I'll Google stuff about it later. Everyone was looking up to Zephram Cochrane as some kind of idol, and he's just a horn dog. That isn't even the horniest part of the movie. Okay. We will talk about this in the podcast episode. I don't think that I'm disrupting the podcast in any way by having my own personal rant about how fucking horny First Contact is, okay? Spoilers. Okay, you know Data and how Data, his whole thing, he states his motivation in the first episode or the second episode of the TV show. He wants to be more human. He's a fucking android, and he's constantly trying to understand humans, and he wants to be more human, and he's trying out new things and wants to da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. So in the movie First Contact, the Borg Queen... Yeah, exactly. You know what's up. You know what's up. YouTube chat knows what's up. So the Borg Queen, she's like... I started out biological, and all of the Borg start out biological, but then we make it like cybernetic, and that's what makes us perfect or whatever. But they can't live without the biological component. So of course she's kind of fascinated with Data in a certain way, and she decides that she's going to put some real human skin on Data and like hook it up to his wires and stuff so that he can feel actual physical sensation. And she gets a little piece of skin grafted to his arm. And the whole conversation is very sexually charged. And she goes over to him and she like blows across the surface of the skin, and it like gives the skin goosebumps, and Data reacts, and he's like, and then she asks, was that good for you? And he goes like, ooh, like, it's so sexual. And then later she does straight up ask him like, you're fully functional in the dick area, right? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, when's the last time you did it? And he's like, exactly this many days, seconds, and minutes ago. And then they make out. And then there's a cutaway, and we don't know if they fuck. And I guess like it's kind of implied that they fuck. And that's First Contact. Completely ignoring the Zephram Cochrane stuff, where he was like hitting on Deanna Troi and all that kind of stuff. Like it does, like that's not even the horny part. Cochrane and Riker have a lot in common. Riker is just a bit more suave. Sure, yeah, I do think that they worked well together in the plot. It made sense. TNG has lots of ups and downs when it starts. Takes time to settle into the consistently good show it's known to be. IMO. Yeah, I think there's kind of the opposite phrase of jumping the shark, where it's like growing the beard, and that's because in Star Trek: The Next Generation, Riker in season 2 grows his beard, and the show gets much better in season 2. So I do think season 1 is kind of like, yeah, it's gonna feel a little bit all over the place. Yeah, it's crazy how you can completely forget how fucking horny Star Trek is, right? This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, Data is fully functional and programmed in numerous techniques. Are you functional in the dick area has got to be the funniest thing you can say. That's not exactly what she says, but it is basically what she asks. She's asking, are you fully functional in the dick area? Lower Decks is probably the horniest of the Star Trek shows. Sure, I get kind of like an Adult Swim vibe off of Lower Decks. Nothing about Deanna Troi is particularly horny in the movies. No, so far I would not describe anything Deanna Troi has been doing as horny. In the TV show, she starts out horny. Like her and Riker fucked before, you know. The episodes about poor Geordie LaForge trying to figure out romance is both hilarious and cringeworthy. Yeah. I don't remember any of those. We're going to get back into it. Okay, that's an interesting interpretation. So Fuzzy says, hold on, let me pull my chats back away. Fuzzy says, yeah, Data and the Queen totally fucked. Spoilers. There's a line at the end of the movie where Picard asks Data if he was tempted to betray the crew. And Data says, yes, for 0.68 seconds, i.e. the length of an orgasm. I feel like if your orgasm is only 0.68 seconds long, that's a real sad day for you. I don't know if that necessarily implies that they fucked either. Have you watched the fan film Star Trek Spectre and its sequels? No, I have not. Loxana Troy was the horny one. That's true, though. So much horny stuff was cut out by the network from the original series and TNG that Roddenberry really wanted in there. Yeah, he had all kinds of freaky shit going on. I feel like the actor for Deanna is just tired and bored by the time they get to the movies. That's fair. This should be our podcast, just mapping out the horny levels of TV shows across their runs. Make a graph for every show. Like, how horny was it at the beginning? Did it peak in the middle? Like, let's look at Game of Thrones. Now, it's not just how sexual it is, because I feel like those are two different things, right? Like, when they tried to portray Jon Snow and, okay, spoiler warning, big spoiler warning. When they put Jon Snow and Dany having sex together, it's like undeniably that's sex in the show, right? But it was not very horny. Does that make sense? Like, it wasn't very erotic. It was just kind of like, oh, man, you're doing the, it didn't really feel like, oh, I'm invested. I like this. This is hot. This is exciting, in the way that, like, Jon Snow and Ygritte in the cave is, like, sexy. Like, it's horny, in addition to being a sex scene. Like, it's very horny. There's desire. There's intrigue. You want it to happen. So, yeah, that's kind of just an interesting thing to think about. I get what you're saying, fuzzy logic. I just think it's funny. Also, it was incest. She's his aunt. Well, okay, but spoilers for House of the Dragon, season 1, though, because this is a scene where there is horniness but no sex. Well, so there's a scene where family members are about to fuck, and I'm like, it's horny. You're like, I want it to happen a little bit. It's not directly like siblings or any, like, you know, the closer relationships, it feels weird, but it is like close enough. I guess I'm not, I said spoilers, but I'm avoiding all the details about it. So like whether it's incest or not doesn't necessarily change how horny it is. Also, I think 0.68 seconds is not, we're not describing the like length of time that it gets to completion. It's like the orgasm itself. Like my personal experience is that the actual orgasm itself lasts a couple of seconds. So, Snow and Ygritte actors are married in real life. So much better chemistry. Yeah, they fell in love on the TV show. They were playing a romantic partner and they got married afterwards. So. I won't watch House of the Dragon until it finishes its entire run as a series and people I trust assure me the ending doesn't suck. They will not burn me a second time. I'm feeling like a little bit of frustration with this, not with you, Mama, but with my partner. So just like, it's like, okay, the only things that it has in common are that the story is from the same book series and the production company is the same production company. But the showrunners, the directors, the actors, I mean, I guess the fucking composer is the same, Ramin Djawadi. But like almost everything important about it is different. So it just feels silly. And also for me personally, in my personal situation, kind of annoying. Because the shows are coming out every other year. So it's like, okay, so it's like if somebody won't talk to me about House of the Dragon or they won't watch it until all 5 seasons are out, that's going to be like 6 years from now, which feels insane and unreasonable. And that's just my opinion. We need to add Smash Trek or not to your dragon video. Yeah, I do need to get back into making that series of videos. I'm just like right now in the process of like trickle uploading the mirrors on my other channel, which I haven't checked on in a few days. So, well, I guess I can't really stay over here because it'll screw up everything else. But I'll get back to that and start uploading shit on it again. I also really need to go through and like pick a video to react to from my clips recently, and I just, every time I go into it, I'm like, God, it's fucking Tomris again. Hate Tomris. See you in 6 years to discuss the show. Yeah. Optimistically, it would be 4 years because it's in 2026 that we have another season of House of the Dragon coming out. So we have a season of House of the Dragon coming out next summer. I want to say it's next summer. And so then 2 years from then would be 2028. So in 2030, we can talk about House of the Dragon. I wish I could get into GOT. I just can't handle the horrible people being horrible people. True, fair enough. It's my comfort show. Not Game of Thrones so much. I'm fucking over it. You know, it'll, in a couple years or in a year or something, I'll get an itch and I'll watch it from the beginning again. I love that you have favorite callers versus hated callers. I mean, it's expected, but still funny to hear about. I don't even know if I have any favorite callers. Because even if you are a friendly caller who calls too often, I'm kind of like, So, and I don't really retain information about people. So it's not really until you've called several times that I remember anything about you or your conversation. And it's not personal. I'm just like, I'm performing and having a conversation, so it doesn't like retain the same way. So unless you've called several times, I don't know who the fuck you are. I didn't get any spicy callers both times I guest hosted. I want to make mincemeat of some foolish transphobes. Yeah. I would like to continue having guests on, and I'm sure, I don't know, we were kind of on a direction toward like some kind of some various kinds of expansion, but Jimmy's feeling sick again, so I'm not sure if we're gonna be expanding as much as we were hoping to in 2026, but we'll see. I'm hoping that things turn around for him. It's like obnoxious to feel like he was so sick for such a long time, and then he kind of figured out what the problems were, and what about Pip or Sarah? I don't remember anything about Sarah. Pip, some of the conversations that Pip brings can be interesting, but like you got to keep in mind my general frustration with Takis versus the other shows is that we get too many friendly callers or people who want advice or stuff. Like my personal feeling is that we spend more time being therapists on Takis, and Pip doesn't fall into that category. But Pip does fall into like we basically end up agreeing the entire conversation category, and I don't personally feel like that's very entertaining. Like, so there's like, how do you feel about Pip as a caller versus how do you feel about Pip as a human being that you would be in spaces with? I'm like, I like Pip. I don't always love Pip's calls. And that's like, I'm not trying to be rude or anything. I'm not annoyed or anything. I'm just, my honest answer. Dude, I do think that I have fucking gluten intolerance. Oh my gosh. I'll talk to you about it when I get back. I'm just gonna go take a quick pee break and be back in a second. I'm not gonna put on any music. Well, maybe, yeah, let me put the Jazz Dog back on. I'm just gonna take my little break. Jazz Dog, Jazz Dog. Alone in a world. Whoa, hold on. Mr. Jazz Dog. He's got all kinds of good music. Let me hold on. We're doing this again. Okay, here we go. No, no more music. Only one song for you. One song only. I didn't get more water. Rip. I'll do that in a second. It's fine. Bloody Hatter says, my favorite transatlantic calls are the real info callers. People with questions and genuine curiosity, because I get bored of both transphobes and friendlies. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. People talking about their local queer and trans communities. I wish I was more involved. I would kind of like to. I'm like, now I'm older, and I kind of wonder if I should like volunteer for a youth organization rather than like, I don't know, like maybe that would be a good way to get to know other queer adults, like supporting queer youth or something. I don't know. I'm still like really struggling on that whole like being social thing. I don't know. We'll fucking see if it gets better ever at this point. It's been years that I've been like, I'm trying harder to make friends, and like just constant problem for me. Oh well. My chest does hurt a little bit less. It's still like achy, but it does hurt less. So whether it was the magnesium or the ibuprofen, it does seem to have helped some. And that makes me happy. That makes me happy. More transgender peer support specialists are needed. I'm one of like 3 or 4 that I know of. Yeah, true. I try to help where I can when I can. I met my neighbors when I moved in, and I ended up helping them both get set up with healthcare, and my trans friend started medical transition. Hell yeah. I don't know if anybody in my neighborhood is going to be the kind of people that I want to be friends with. Like, this seems to be a community where people complain about each other a lot, and where one of my packages got stolen this week, which I was pissed. I'm still pissed. It hasn't been resolved yet. I'm still fucking annoyed. Like, it's like when you buy something off of Etsy, it's different if it's like a corporation. Like recently, actually this stuff. Do you guys know about good.store? They have all these like different kinds of products, and one of the products is like they have a bunch of cleaning products that are environmentally friendly in a lot of different ways, partially because this is fucking powder. And you take like 1 tablespoon of this powder for every load of laundry, and it's laundry detergent. And this thing is heavy, but if this was in like, this would probably be like 3 bottles. And so you're like saving money on the shipping because you're not shipping a bunch of water. Like I have water at home. And also all of the profits get donated. I think in specifically the cleaning products, all of the proceeds are donated to coral reef conservation. Isn't that Technology Connections thing? Technology Connections, my understanding is that he formulated the dishwasher detergent in this. And I haven't purchased any of that yet. I'm going to. The next time I get my little subscription box of this stuff, I'm going to go ahead and also get the dishwasher, not fluid, dishwasher powder probably. But yes, Technology Connections works with good.store on that. But my package was lost by UPS. And I contacted good.store and I was like, hey, good.store, my package has been in transit for over a month and there hasn't been any updates in over a month. So what the fuck is the deal? And they were like, oh, it looks like they probably lost the package, so we'll just send you a new one. And I'm like, okay, cool, bet. That's great. If I buy something from an individual on Etsy, I can't do that in the same way. Although I do think the package was insured. But is the package insured against theft? Like, either the USPS reimburses me for the value of my package and then I can buy another one, or I'm going to have to buy a new one, so I'm out $20, or the creator, in order to make it right, might send me it and they would be out $20. And I'm like, I just want these systems to work. It is so infuriating when, and especially it's like, this was something I was looking forward to getting. I didn't mind as much. I waited over a month on this laundry detergent thing because I just didn't fucking care. I still have laundry detergent. But for something that I was like looking forward to, that I bought specifically off of Etsy to have, and for it to just like either be delivered incorrectly or not, like it was tagged as delivered, but I never saw it. And also, like, it was a small enough package that it probably should have been delivered to my mailbox and not to my house. So there's just so many things about this where I'm like really fucking irritated. And I'm gonna have to improve my home security situation. So like under the assumption that someone in my neighborhood is stealing shit. I went on Nextdoor to see what people in my neighborhood are up to, and it's just so much nitpicky, geriatric, busybody, and NIMBY shit. That's true. That reminds me, in Banished, I finished getting all of my achievements, and my habit is I name the town after whatever sort of achievement I'm trying to get. So I recently had a file where my goal was to get to 300 citizens without building any schools. So like uneducated citizens don't work as efficiently, basically, is the main difference. That's why it's a handicap. And I named that one Hickton, like Hicktown. And then my most recent one was get to 300 citizens without building a trading post, which is tricky in its own way, because like maybe you start out with like potatoes and squash, but you don't have access to pumpkins or wheat, whatever. So you get those things by the trading post. So it's like, okay, that one was more challenging, or no, it was challenging in a different way. I'm not gonna say more challenging. It was challenging in a different way, but I named that one Nimbus, like NYMBYS, like not in my backyard, to be like, we don't want no foreigners, we're isolationists or whatever. I know what you mean. Technology Connections is almost the perfect fuel for autism peculiar interest. Yeah, I like him a lot. I don't ever seek out his videos, and they're not like recommended to me. Maybe I just need to watch enough of his videos, like just play 2 or 3 of them in a row, and then YouTube will get that I want them recommended to me. If you need a guard dog, I know several puppy girls. Fair enough. There are a few people up in the Columbia Gorge you'd probably like being friends with. Spoiler alert, it's my wife and I. True. Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm so itchy. There's also a variant of callers that I like called, hold on, where they call in spoiling for a fight, but then it turns out they were operating under a basic misconception but agree by the end. Those ones are probably some of the more satisfying ones, where they're like, you guys are doing this to kids, you want to force them, da da da. And when you establish like, no, we're, it's a very cautious approach, we take lots and lots of time, the parents have to be on board, all this kind of stuff. And then by the end of the conversation, if they can go like, okay, that's reasonable, and I'm like, fuck yeah, we did it, like we straight up educated somebody today. And that does happen. People are ideologically entrenched in a way that, like, I've gotten comments before where they say things like, you're never going to convince anyone. And that it's not like I'm being criticized by someone who agrees with me about my tactics. It's more like, your beliefs are so fucked up and insane that no one could possibly ever be convinced to go to your side. And I'm like, that's just demonstrably not true. I am really good at articulating my views. And like, I might not be convincing the callers themselves, at least not on the day. But that doesn't mean that the audience isn't getting any value from it. That doesn't mean that the caller might not think about it more later. I really want to get an Andrew call myself because there have been several Andrew calls now. Y'all know Andrew from New Jersey. There have been several now where it does seem like he is starting to realize that he doesn't know what it means to be reasonable or rational. And he's starting to push on that particular topic. And I want to have another Andrew call where I ignore anything he says he wants to talk about. And I just go, look, Andrew, I do really want to talk about like this, like how to evaluate information. How do you know what you believe? Why do you believe what you believe? Where did you learn that? What makes you think such and such source is a good or bad source of information? Where do you place your trust? What are your personal values in terms of, do you care about believing in things that are true? Like, okay. And so I really think that we are starting to get somewhere with him where it's easy to get derailed because he will bring up dumbass examples. And I just need to be like, I just need to be in complete control of the conversation and just be like, okay, Andrew, I'm not responding to that at all because it's completely off topic, and just pull it right back. I'm baffled every time I hear someone suggesting that we don't have guidelines and strict restrictions in place to protect people, including minors. Yeah, no shit. Like, it's like every time I'm like, yeah, duh. Like, the idea that as a young person you can just get whatever medical care and like that it could be done without parental consent or anything, it's fucking crazy.
Shiloh got a tier 1 subscription. I just finished mopping up the last few achievements in Banished a couple weeks ago. I really enjoyed it. Glad to hear you're having fun.
Hell yeah, Shiloh. Let me pull this up. Let me pull this up real quick because I just want to flaunt a little bit. Thank you so much for that donation, though. Genuinely, I feel like I'm not hyping up the donation goal today, but it's much appreciated. So Banished, I have, let's see, is there anything spicy on here that I don't want people to see? No, not really. I've played Banished. Well, hold on. Can I zoom in to make it easier to see this? No, it can't be zoomed in upon. Okay, well, I've played Banished for 451 hours, and I recently got 100% of the achievements. There were like the last 2 achievements. I haven't really played Banished for several years, so I played it was like, I've played like 100 hours over the past few weeks. Or a little bit less than that. But yeah, the first like 350 hours would have been years and years ago that I played. And I got like almost all the achievements. And then I just recently was like, damn, I want to sweep this up. I want to clean this up. And now I've started self-imposing things. I don't know how long this is going to last. Like my full achievement, like my full attention span for this, I don't know how much longer it's going to last. Because once you get to a point where you're just kind of self-imposing goals, it kind of can fall apart a little bit for me if I don't feel like there's a clear step 1, step 2, whatever. So, oh, it's winter. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, so this is the one that I got to 300 without building any trading posts. And then I was like, well, okay, I got the achievement. And since I like how big and open this is, I'll just keep going. And so my goal is basically to expand as much as I can in this map, or at least as much as makes sense. Or maybe to arbitrarily hit a goal of like hitting 1,000 citizens, which right now I currently have 561 citizens. And it's like, it started right here. This is, hold on, where am I? What is going on? This is my original square of houses. This area right here. It's my original town square. And then, yeah, it's been expanding. It's expanded up and down first. And then I've been expanding over to the east. And, like, this is almost filled out. Like I'm producing food with hunter-gatherers in these corners. There's like area ripe right here for more houses. These are my stone quarries. I'm just like this ugly ass little area. Like we'll just quarry in that ugly ass little area. What's something that's really funny is, and it's hard to see this unless it's wintertime, but isn't this kind of like a caldera? Isn't this a little bit like a volcanic caldera? And I'm mining into it. I've mined into it a lot. Those are 2 mines that I've already mined completely out. And then these are the 2 active ones. I'm a mining into a volcano. Not literally, but you know what I mean. It's just funny. Like, it does kind of look like a caldera. Am I using that word correctly? I hope I am. Anyway, so now I'm expanding this direction. I've just started building all this shit up here. Little, little stuff or whatever. Up here, I don't really know if there's much I can do with this. Dude, when I first saw this lake in this shape, I was like, that's a weird, like, double-headed penis with balls down here. And then I was like, or it's a fucking dog bone, you idiot. Like, no, I guess it's kind of more of a dog bone, like a cartoon dog bone. Anyway, so eventually, yeah, we're gonna continue expanding up this direction. So this is, like, where my original place is. This is just straight north of there. We've got this corner up here that I could probably get into via connecting down here to this area. And then there's this down here. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now, is just gradually expanding into all of this wilderness. Yeah, and then I guess there's this down here as well, this little corner. Yep, I've already built a bridge down here. Boom, come down here, all that area. So I've got my work cut out for me. And I'll be just sort of gradually working my way there. And it has to be gradual. You can't just, like, necessarily put down a bunch of houses and, like I could sit here while this is paused and put down every building that I could ever want to be over here and plan out, like, how much food production and stuff. But a lot of that I end up finding I have to balance as I build. I might be like, oh shit, the population is really high right now and I am losing a lot of food, and just have to put down, which is kind of when it ended up happening over here, where I was like, oh my god, I need to build more farms, fuck. And then so 12 spots became another 7 over here. So yeah, and then I got chickens. You want to see my chickens walk around? Chickens, they're on 10 times speed, so they're moving fast. And then my cows, moo. Cows. And then my sheep. Oh, like my gravestones, my graveyards. And where's the sheep? It's kind of hard to see it because it's winter, but those are my sheeps. Aren't they so pretty? And then there's the mutton. We eat the meat. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. I don't really need to save it, but I'm going to. See, Nimbus. Also, backwaters. I fucked this one up. I'm going to save this really quick. But then I'm going to load this other one just to show you. So I had 2 achievements left, and I tried to do both of them at the same time. So backwaters meaning, like, it's kind of like Hickton and NIMBYs combined, because I was like, if I can do this without building any schools or trading posts. But that means that, like, the blacksmiths are less efficient at building tools. So what I'm dealing with right now is a chronic tool shortage, where they can't do their work efficiently because they don't have a tool, and now they're like starving. It's a whole fucking thing. So I gave up on this after, like, several summers, like several years of not being able to function. I was like, yikes, I'm giving up on this. So it's nice and, like, relatively open spaces, though. I don't know, those giant lakes are not my favorite. I will also sit there at the beginning of a game if I'm about to start a new game, and I'll just load a new world over and over again until it's one that doesn't suck topographically. So that's a little way that I cheat. Cheating. Okay, Shiloh, thank you for your dono. You added a dono earlier, and What was it? Does it actually say on my phone? Okay, yep. $5 dono, bringing us up to $30 today. $30 today. I don't like sitting when I stream, and I don't like sitting in general because it, like, I think encourages me to have worse posture, but I do think I feel better not standing during stream today. Yeah, it won't be too cold with all that lava flowing over. You stream games too. Sometimes, like, mostly what this is for is because we will be like reacting to things and reading articles and stuff, or at least that's what the original intention. The original intention was like I was doing really overtly political streams where we would specifically go over like, here's all the news, and then I would take clips from those streams and upload them to be like, here's a little section about this news item, and then like that would be the upload. I just don't do that anymore because it was soul sucking and I hated it. And I don't really stream games very much because I've noticed that people are less interested in me playing games than they are interested in me talking about my oppression. So I don't really stream games very often. Later, Bloody Hatter. It would be great to have an Andrew call where you're the lead host. So far, I think it's only been when you were co-host or voice of Glob. Even if I'm co-hosting the next time, well, the trouble is if I'm on any show that's not Takis. Okay, someone in the comments told me this recently. Someone in the comments said that I play good cop when I'm hosting with a cis person and bad cop when I'm hosting with another trans person. And I guess part of that is just like usually if I'm hosting with a cis person, it's like their show in the case of like streaming with Matt, or like Aaron specifically asked for a trans person to be a guest with him on Skep Talk because he was having some kind of argument online. I don't know. So there are some specific reasons why I take kind of a backseat, but like it is just like easy for people to talk over me a little bit too. So, if I was co-hosting with another trans person, I could be like, hey, Andrew's calling. Can you let me kind of take point? But I don't know if that would, if I was streaming with anyone else who's not like a Takis situation. Or if I was on Chewed Gum with Taylor, I could be like, Taylor, you know, well, I would invite Taylor to still interject because I want her to still be interjecting, but I might still take the control over the conversation. I feel like you'd be a fun streamer to watch play games, TBH, but I like you on Takis too. It's fun. I did have a Let's Play channel. The videos are not public anymore, but I did have one. And those were, I'm really like proud of some of the artistry that went into especially like the thumbnails for those. I actually really enjoyed doing a Let's Play channel. Man, maybe we should stream games. The inverted age pyramid always got me in Banished. It was the #1 run killer for me. You have to build enough houses to get to a level where like some people are dying, but there's housing available. Like, okay, so yeah, I see what you mean. Because you get to this place where all of your population is aging and all of the houses are totally full, so nobody can have babies. So you have to keep really close tabs and like keep building houses and like gradually continue building houses, gradually expand your food production. And then you get to a certain point where there's like enough housing and people have been around for long enough that like people die, and then there are people who are the correct age to move into that house to have babies, you know? Stream games while talking about oppression, best of both worlds? I guess, maybe. If people will allow me to just play whatever games I want, and then like you guys bring annoying bullshit from the news to me, and then I riff on it, I'm not gonna like argue. It's just like, what games? Because I have to be able to play the game and talk and read chat at the same time. Banished is kind of great for this, because especially with the level of stability that I have it at right now, I could just like put it on and mostly be talking and pause anytime I want to, or even just reduce the speed down anytime I want to. Other stuff like World of Warcraft, it would be harder to. And also people come in and they see World of Warcraft and they're like, I'm gonna bounce immediately. I don't even care what your shit is about. Like, I don't even care what you're here to talk about. I'm not interested. Take care of the baby, Trans Unlimited. Take care of the baby. The constant expansion to keep the population from death spiraling early was the main hurdle. Got it after a while, but at first it was rough. Yeah. It was a big learning curve. There's hours and hours and hours and hours of files that I've lost because I changed over my computer at some point and it just didn't keep any of that. Or maybe it's on like a secondary disk or something that just didn't load up the same. But like all of my save files from all of my previous 350 hours of playing Banished are just gone. But there was a lot of it, a lot of trial and error and a lot of losing. Your description of the problems with co-host dynamics is evidence for why Jimmy should give you your own show. Maybe make it a vertical so you get more of the casuals calling in. It's just hard to do that now because he has me producing, and it's like hard to do one and then follow into the other. And like, I already work 5 days a week. So it's tricky to implement that for, you know, especially with the way that we have shows starting from one and leading into the next. If I were to go on Calling It Now or a functionally equivalent show like Monday, and then that show ends when Skep Talk starts, but with my current production schedule, usually I'm like talking to the hosts before this show and stuff if I'm producing Skep Talk, and like have to make sure that everything's working correctly. So I couldn't like host a show and then lead into being a producer. So there is some amount of like, it is kind of difficult to do both or to balance doing both. But I appreciate the sentiment that I should have my own show that I get to be completely in charge of. Like, that does amuse me greatly. And I do think that we should add another producer to the roster. We just added me and Luthien though, so we do have two like pretty new producers already. So I'm not sure if we're looking to expand in that direction right this moment. I thought it was cool to watch you play games that I never would. Fair enough. Yeah. I do like watching other people play games that I would never be interested in playing. I don't like watching people play games that I enjoy playing and have played because there's too much of the backseat gamer where I'm like, no, do this. Or like, why are you doing that? Like, too much judgment. Too much. You know what? Along with like all of the other sort of anti-inflammation foods that I've been trying this week, I also have some dark chocolate. So I'm going to eat it. I'm going to eat some dark chocolate. It's also supposed to help you when you're depressed, right? You eat chocolate, it helps you feel better. I don't actually know if that's true. Horror games are fun to watch, but terrible to play. Yeah, I don't want to play a horror game. I'll watch someone play a horror game. It would definitely help if we had another producer, because like this week Arden is gone, and she's dealing with some
Domestic
family
has
stuff.
donated
Whoa.
$70. Hello, I have tried to locate your Star Trek reactions but without success. Would you please tell me where you stream these?
Oh my gosh, domestic. Thank you so much. I'm gonna finish eating this chocolate before I open the treasure chest. But thank you. We stream, so it's not streamed. It's a podcast we record, and then Gayfesh edits it, and it's on Gayfesh's YouTube channel. It's called the Many Worlds Hypothesis, but it's on Gayfesh YouTube channel. So actually, if we do exclamation point Gayfesh in this chat, it should pop up. There it is. Yeah, there it is. So it's on Gayfesh's channel, and I don't actually know how many of our Star Trek episodes are up. Well, the original series episodes are all up. The ones about the original series movies. Anyway, this is a movies podcast, not a TV shows podcast. Well, I guess we did Star Wars Andor, but for the most part, we're doing like not stuff that's going to be like, oh, here's an entire 25 episodes. So Star Trek, the original series movies. Now we're doing Star Trek, the Next Generation movies. Let's look up Gayfesh. Gayfesh. He's the gayest fesh. Videos. So yeah, we just got done doing Ari Aster. So we did Hereditary, Midsommar, Beau is Afraid, Eddington. And so this is, wait, is this available now? It's available now? No. They start off members only. This is Gayfesh's project. I don't have any control over any of this. It's members only to start with. And then I think there's like after 1 week of being members only, it goes public. I can't remember. But we also use the collaboration function. So you can see here it says like Gayfesh and Luxander Moss. So it should also be showing up like in the same way that when I upload a video, it'll be like on your homepage. So whenever we upload one of these, it should also potentially be like, hey, it's on your homepage. But now that you know what it looks like, this is kind of the general vibe of our thumbnails. So yeah. How on earth does Gayfesh have so few YouTube views? Is it available on a different podcast player? I think it is available on other podcast stuffs, but I mean, Gayfesh is just like not a hugely prolific YouTube creator, I guess. Like, hasn't been going as hard on the streaming thing. Anyway, thank you, Domestic. I'm gonna finish eating this fucking chocolate. Chocolate. Chocolate treasure. I don't normally sit there and have like melting chocolate in my hands. I feel really weird about that, but I got distracted. Riverboat Jack and a bunch of others are doing Expedition 33 right now, and I don't know whether to watch or not because it looks good, but I've never played a JRPG. Yeah. I guess I've played Final Fantasy. That's a JRPG, right? Ah. If you do want to hire a producer, I'll be available starting in January. Yeah, I don't really know how the hiring process works either. Yes, indeed. The condemned had a hearty meal of chocolate before being consumed by the great mimic. I don't know what you're talking about. That's crazy. Can't believe you would say that. Yeah, I like our podcast. I think it's good. Especially if you miss Demon Mama. It's good to have. Oh. Okay. Treasure chest. Thank you, everybody, for donating. Okay. Are we ready? That was kind of like a drum roll. It wasn't really my intention for it to be like a drum roll, but... Oh. Oh, my. Oh. Oh, my. It's just spiders. It's just spiders. Does this mean spooky season is over now? It's literally just spiders. Look at how glittery they are. Okay, well. Anyway. Okay, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and put that back. It's the end of spooky. The spooky season has ended. Finality, click. We're done with spooky season now, which actually coincidentally I did just put up. I feel like I want more of all of the holiday decorate. Like every year I decorate for the holidays and I'm like, I want more of everything else that I have. So I put up like the one string of Christmas lights that I have in my living room. I put up our Christmas stockings. I put up, we have like a big bag of those gift ribbons, like the things that you just stick on. And I put those all over my mandala. And yeah, but I feel like there could be more. I feel like I could have more lights. I feel like I could have more baubles. I feel like I could have more stuff decorating the walls. Every time it's time for me to decorate or like take down previous holidays decorations and start the new ones, I'm like, man, I wish I had more stuff. Really would like to have more decorations and stuff. I don't have any fairy lights in here, for example, like here in my office. What if I wanted to have Christmas lights dangling? I don't have any right now. Trifling. There are 4 lights, in fact. I love Jean-Luc Picard and like Patrick Stewart. He's just pretty great. I think the plan right now for the podcast is we're doing the Star Trek, the Next Generation movies right now. We will throw Galaxy Quest in the mix there. I would put up my Yule decor, but my neighbor has sticky fingers and isn't a fan of anything other than Christianity. But that's the thing. That's kind of what I like about, we're going to do the TNG movies, and then we're going to do something else in the middle, and then we're going to come back around and do Star Trek 2008 and like those movies. Anyway, that's kind of what made me end up being able to appreciate Christmas decorations, is that they all are Yule decorations, with the exception of the Christmas stocking. That's kind of like an Americanized Christian or an Americanized Christmas thing. But like that's part of why I'm not as annoyed when I see Christmas decorations in fucking October, is I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm really appreciative that everybody's on this Yule thing. And then I can decorate Yule style and nobody knows. Maybe I can't prominently display like my pentacles or anything, but Star Trek 2009 is terrible Trek, but a great movie. I disagree that it's terrible Trek. I think that it helps to get perspective by going back and watching all the Trek and going, what the fuck? And realizing how all over the place, like people have been saying that's not Trek about Star Trek stuff for like 30 years. Like imagine the Star Trek, the Next Generation comes out and people are like, God, this isn't Star Trek. This is so different to the original series. And like looking at that now and going, wow, that's fucking silly. Like Steve Shives has a great video about this where he's like, he talks about this, like how many times did people say this is not Trek? Like this is so out of the box for Trek that it just feels spiritually not even the same anymore. Steve Shives, not Trek? Like, I watched so many videos of his. He's got so many good ones. What do conservatives like about Star Trek? That's a great video. Man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to find that one particular video. Exactly, Fuzzy. Fuzzy says in 1987, people said all the same stuff about TNG that they say now about Discovery or this. Yeah, like, this is what I'm saying. 2009 is action Star Trek. I had fun, not my favorite, but it was fun. I mean, people said this too about The Wrath of Khan. They were like, Wrath of Khan is barely even a Star Trek movie, like, blah, 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 because it does read a lot more like an action film, but that's also why it's a good film that stands alone, because that's another thing that you got to remember is, like, Star Trek movies are generally not made for a general audience. Star Trek movies are by and large made for people who've watched the TV shows. They heavily rely on you having a prior emotional investment and prior knowledge of the characters in order for you to, like, jolly along and enjoy the movie. Especially with the Next Generation movies, I'm realizing, like, yeah, they don't really flesh out the characters in a way that you would need to in a movie if you only have the runtime of the movie to care about the characters, you know? So they do kind of fail in that way. So, like, when you get a movie like, okay, we're doing the Star Trek movies 2009 and a movie like Wrath of Khan or whatever, there those rare moments where they're like, how do we get this to appeal to a broader audience, is you have to do it by, you know, having the character relationships be understandable within that time frame, to have all the build up exist within that time frame. And so therefore it's easier to do kind of more of an action movie than it is to do more of like an intellectual movie, because with the action movie, it's not as necessary for you to establish lots of long-term relationships. Like the new Star Trek movies, they start by being like, yo, let's throw these characters together for the very first time. And how would this all interact before they've really become their mature selves? And you get to watch the characters develop those emotions on screen, develop those relationships on screen as well. And of course, you were able to watch all of that play out on screen before, but it was like in the form of 7 seasons of a television show, instead of like, okay, how do we get to know these people over the course of this one movie? So I think that's another way in which Star Trek 2009 and those going forward differ a lot, is because it's for a brand new audience of people who probably haven't seen Star Trek the original series or any of the movies. So you do have to start completely over here. The fans hated Captain Baldy. They were expecting another Kirk, Spock, McCoy triad and not a more broad ensemble cast. Sure, yeah. People got so pissy about it. Was it Discovery that referenced Elon Musk? I think it might be. I didn't watch any of Discovery. So actually, I've watched all of the Next Generation, all of the original series, and all of Star Trek Enterprise. But it's been a long time. Hey, 864 says, this is wild. I'm doing my coursework and reading about cognitive behavioral therapy for LGBTQ plus people with internalizing disorders, and this article literally mentions minority stress. Yeah, there we go. What if I told you there were 5 lights? Listen. This is basically the whole what's a woman conversation. What constitutes Star Trek? Yeah. I couldn't get past Enterprise being built on the ground in Iowa instead of the well-established shipyards orbiting Mars. I thought that it's like at the beginning of the movie, he gets on the rocket and it's like a rocket that gets them to space, but that I didn't think that he was like on the Enterprise. Maybe we're going to go back and watch them. So maybe I'll be wrong, but I thought that they did leave the planet before getting to the Enterprise. Fuzzy says it was Star Trek Discovery that mentioned Elon Musk, but there is a super spoilery reason why it is actually totally appropriate in hindsight why that character specifically would cite Musk as a hero. There we go. There we go. It made sense. It eventually made sense, is what we're learning. Star Trek. Why Star Trek 5 is actually not as bad as you remember. Steve Shives. God bless. I made a joke in one of the Star Trek videos. Oh, it might actually be the one that's coming out soon, where I was like, I will fight anybody who says that Data doesn't have emotions. Steve Shives. Like, I wouldn't actually fight Steve. I think his theory about it is reasonable. There was a scene of him approaching a ship on his motorbike being built sitting on the ground. He grew up in Iowa. No, I knew he grew up in Iowa, but okay. It's been a while since I sat there and watched it, so my bad. Is there a reason you have not watched Deep Space Nine? I'm really resistant to watching new shows in general. Like, I didn't start watching Game of Thrones until season 5 had come out. And even then, I just, like, my dad had been trying to get me to watch it for a long time. And one time I was over at my dad's house and we were hanging out and I was like, fuck it. Put on the first episode of Game of Thrones. Like, well, let's just do it. Let's do it here together today. Let's just watch it. And then I came home and I absolutely crashed through the rest of that show. Because it was like, listen, the way that the first episode of Game of Thrones ends, you're like, wow, I need to know what happens next. Okay. So, you know, but other than that, it's hard to get me to watch a new show. I'm interested though. I thought that there were going to be more Star Trek movies after the Star Trek The Next Generation movies, and I did ask Gayfesh, like, should I watch DS9 in preparation to watch any of the movies? And he was like, oh, there's no movies for that part of the show. So I'm interested. I just haven't taken the time because it's really just annoying to get me to watch new shows. Did it make sense in hindsight with what comes later, or are we just saying that because we don't want to think the Star Trek writers would glaze Musk? I don't know. Fuzzy Logic says it's a huge spoilery thing, so. New shows for me is a rough topic. Because of autism and ADHD, it takes everything out of me if I hyper-focus on it. Truly, I'll watch a new show and then be like, I must consume it. And then I'll watch it over and over and over again. But, I will say I did learn something recently, which is that if I watch a movie for the very first time, but I'm watching it like while I'm playing a video game or something, it can make some of the emotional unpredictability of the film a little easier to deal with. And then later, I can sit down and watch the movie with my full undivided attention, and at least I know everything that's going to happen, or at least broad strokes of everything that's going to happen. So if you're like struggling to watch new media because of unpredictable emotions, for example, then that might be something to try. Oh my god. I hate it when I'm trying to clean off my glasses and then I do something that accidentally smears shit all over my glasses more. There we go. DS9 is pretty good, but there are a lot of war crimes that get hand-waved away. Yeah. Like, I've heard really great things about DS9 and Voyager. So they're like on my list. I'm not like a completionist though. I'm not sitting here like, oh, I need to watch all of the Trek stuff. It's not a special interest of mine. I do think I will watch. Like, we've got Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming out this year. So once I'm in on a franchise and it's, you know, something to look forward to, especially, like, okay, I will watch The Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is supposed to air, I want to say it's in the spring next year. And I think that's going to just be either 1 or 2 seasons and then it'll be over. Bop, 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 bop. Oh, it's going to be in January. Okay, cool, girl. I'm not like that invested in A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but I will still watch it, especially if it's only going to be 6 episodes. That's not too bad. And then they're expecting to do a second season as well. Cool. So yeah, we've got A Night of the Seven Kingdoms next year, followed by House of the Dragon Season 3. And that will be coming out... I guess we don't have a specific release date yet. Expected to consist of 8 episodes, premiering in 2026. Also, I'm going to be seeing the Avatar movie this month. I haven't seen any of the Avatar Blue People movies in theaters in 3D, so I'm really excited to get to do that this time because my partner said that it was quite remarkable when... I think actually what he did was he watched the original Avatar movie, James Cameron's Avatar. Like, he said he saw it 3 times in theaters because the 3D was just so amazing. And then I wasn't paying any attention when the water one came out. And so now that I know about Avatar Fire and Ash, and I have a little bit of extra money this Christmas, so yeah, we're going to go watch it in 3D, and I'm excited to do that. Have you seen Station 11? No, I have not. Riffs says, not to derail anything, but I need everyone to know here that my band got one of the demos put on vinyl by a random fan, and I'm still in disbelief. First for me after 25 years of playing. That's so cool. Wait, so a fan took one of your songs and put it on vinyl? That's fucking lit. Yeah, Catherine Mulgrew, I hear good things. Kirk also didn't, quote, enlist in Star Trek. In order to be in an authority position on a spaceship, you have to go through Starfleet Academy. He did, though. Like, in the beginning scene, like, doesn't he get in trouble for the cheat? So the cheating that he did originally to get over the Kobayashi Maru, he cheats it. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. But also, like, it's a whole alternate universe, right? Where it's like, it's kind of like, you know, when you get those episodes of Star Trek that's like, imagine what Star Trek would be like if the Federation was like warlike, you know? Like, imagine what it would be like. And I think that this is falling into that. Like, you can think of it as like, this is one of those spin-off universes where something got messed up in the timeline and nobody has come around to fix it. And like, okay, so this is a version of the Federation that's like more warlike. So they use the term enlist, and like Starfleet Academy, like the scientific aspect of it is a little bit less emphasized or whatever. It's definitely different in a lot of ways, but I think that like they were doing something specific with that. Hot D Season 2 got kneecapped by the writer's strike and random budget cuts. If they were to fund it properly, they can make up for how it awkwardly concluded. But we're not at Season 7 Game of Thrones levels of bad yet. Yeah, they wanted a 10-episode season, and they got it, and like the producers cut it down to 8. So the ending was a little bit weird. Just throw money at it. Just throw infinite money at House of the Dragon, and you will get a good product in return. Yeah, I've heard the people say, like, new Trek. And that makes sense. Or I guess, like, I don't know. Does new Trek, when people say new Trek, do they also use that to mean the new TV shows, which I think are supposed to be closer to the spirit of the original show? I forgot about the writer's strike. I didn't forget about the writer's strike. I'm never going to forget Tyland Lannister saying he's the master of coin. Like, no, you're not. No, you're not. You're the master of ships. That's crazy. Yeah, like there's an episode of Voyager where in an alternate dimension, the Federation was all warships and conquerors. See? That's what I'm saying. A fan took our entire demo of 6 tracks and pressed 100 vinyls for us and then sent us some for free. Damn! That's cool. I'm excited for you. Is that like the musician equivalent of someone making really cool fan art of you? Enlistment means signing up for a non-officer role like Chief O'Brien's, but officers in Starfleet have to go to the academy. Yeah. Well, but yeah. It's like he does eventually though, right? Because the Kobayashi Maru is part of it. He just gets in trouble for cheating instead of being like celebrated for cheating. New Trek, for some people, is more of a reference to how shows after Voyager abandoned the old Star Trek themes. Which themes? Which themes do you feel? Oh my god, I have so many movies on my list that I need to watch. Someone commented today on my bisexual versus pansexual video from like 8 years ago saying, no difference. Both delusional. I'm sorry, are we still at that level? Are we still at a level where we think being attracted to both men and women is delusional? Is that genuine, or does this person just not understand what those words mean and they see that I'm trans and are trying to come at me for being trans? Like, are you stupid? What is going on? It is basically the same level as fan art. It's just weird that it happened at all because it isn't inexpensive to press vinyls like that, and we're not very popular even locally. That's what it is. You get the dedicated fans. That's what it's all about. The dedicated fans who will show up for you. Dead internet theory, I swear. True. I'm paying more attention to it, and I'm noticing like the AI generated profile pictures and regurgitated stupid shit. Like I saw that John Gleason, Godless Engineer, posted some messages that he had received of like harassment, and I'm like, that's not even a real person. AI profile picture, generic ass text, that's not even a person. I don't know what section 31 is. That's my bad. Sorry, not themes, it's more the style. Basically, a lot of new Trek is all boom, boom, space fighting, whereas older Trek was like, let's talk this out. That's sure, yeah. Star Trek The Next Generation has a lot of like, listen, let's pause, let's talk this out, let's wait this out, let's give it a little breathing room, let's do it. Riley, congratulations, says, I just realized I'm trans FTM 2 days ago. Hell yeah, dude. Congrats, I'm so happy for you. I hope that you have lots of community, lots of people to celebrate you, lots of people to talk to. If you're not already in my Discord server, if you want some support, you could join the Discord server, and there's people there who can talk to you and help you out and stuff and answer your questions. Okay. Sorry, I had to clean the chocolate off my hands. I gave in and ate the last piece of my dark chocolate in this one. I have another unopened one. Yeah, the delusion truly is their refusal to admit that they find you attractive, right? Yeah. It's so interesting how the kind of harassment that you get as a relatively androgynous trans person is entirely dependent on your gender presentation at a given time. Like, it would not surprise me at all if people were to come into this stream right now and tell me how um I'll always be a woman, you know? Because it seems it's like I just kind of, it's not even like I'm trying to look masculine. I actually tried to add a little feminine touch. I've got my butterfly earrings on, but I just am, it's a potato day. I'm just not showing off all the titty and everything. So the assumption is going to be, oh, you're trying to look like a man, but you'll never be a real man. And then all the time that I'm dressed femme, people are like, oh my God, you'll never be a real woman. Like, okay, cool. Indeed. Happy egg hatching. Congratulations. Damn fine potato. Thank you. I'll tell my partner he better put some appreciation on that potato. Setting up a Trek night with some friends is a fun way to slowly burn through the shows. It took my group a year and a half to watch The Next Generation, but it was a really nice weekly ritual. Totally. It is much easier to get through something if you have someone with you doing it, you know? Hi, mister. Oh, are you going to throw up a hairball? Is it hairball time? Yeah? You doing okay? Yeah. I just finally gave him the flea treatment yesterday, so I'm hoping that he starts to feel a little bit better. And then, yeah, like, I actually want to check. A bunch of my stuff, I think, has shipped now, so my kitty cat has arthritis. If I didn't tell you already, my kitty cat, he's got arthritis, so I've got to start putting him on painkillers and stuff. Like, I got him kitty gabapentin. I got him kitty joint supplements that are like a cat treat version of a joint supplement. And I got him a new kind of cat food that will hopefully help him lose weight and also boost some of those joint things that they need. Because, yeah, she was like, his knees are so swollen and he's like lost a lot of muscle mass off of his back legs. So he's a poor little baby. Are you a sad little baby? Are you a sad little flea boy? Hey. Hi. I love you. Yeah. You gonna come see me? I'm trying to trick him into coming over here. No kitty joint pain. I know. He's like 15. And actually, I guess he would be like 16 in the springtime. So he's almost 16. Haha, thanks. You're a sweet potato, so appropriate that you're all American. I'll take that. Oh my God, you guys. The exact niche of stupid bullshit that I love. This is it. This is it right here. I keep meaning to change my Elgato camera settings now that I've reduced this light down. But I keep forgetting to do it. Where is my fucking Elgato camera hub? Okay, great. Glidus is a Game of Thrones YouTuber. And he previously did a video that I was like, okay, this is kind of up my alley. This is, and I watch like almost all of his live streams and stuff, whether I'm there when they're live or not. I will like watch them with him and Altschwift X. They do all kinds of dumb shit, like ranking every food description in A Song of Ice and Fire, but they've done like multiple streams of that because they go off on such long tangents. Where is the other one? I want to know where the video is. Okay, yeah, okay. So you guys will understand why.
And wings, but women's also...
Shush. This is a video called How Many Legs Should Dragons Have? So you can see where my interest was piqued in this, to be like, how many legs should they have? And so this is looking at like historical heraldry throughout actual medieval history, and then also looks at Game of Thrones itself, or A Song of Ice and Fire itself, and like even within its own internal inconsistencies of whether the dragons are represented as having 2 legs or 4 legs. This is exactly the kind of dumb bullshit that I'm a huge fan of, right? Big fan of dumb shit like that. However, he just posted a new video this week that was like, oh, it was like even more than the other one. Exactly the kind of dumb shit that I want. Why is there corn in Westeros? Is the title of the video. And of course, like, that's interesting to me because it's like, oh, here's the niche of like, let's talk about actual historical facts, like which foods come from what part of the world, when were they discovered, blah, blah, blah. But just in the context of like, well, if a Song of Ice and Fire is supposed to be based off of like medieval England, then why the fuck is there corn? And that's where this all kind of starts, and then it just goes off from there. And girl, it is literally exactly the kind of dumb shit that I want to watch. I want more of it. I'm like, Glidus, put out more of this. I want to continue watching it. Split the difference, 3 legs. True. Fun fact, a writer's strike was also the reason why the end of TNG Season 1 and all of Season 2 were so horny and inconsistent. They didn't have enough writers or scripts, so a lot of the stories were adapted from the abandoned Star Trek Phase 2 show that Roddenberry wrote in the 70s. Roddenberry was a dirty old man, and without a network to rein him in, every other story was about sex pollen. Fucking true. I love when I find my exact bullshit. Truly. Oh my god, and Glidus did... Okay, I'm just fangirling over specifically this one YouTuber and how fucking amazing his content is. Where's the other one? What else did they do? Is this on the main channel or is this on a different one? He did a cooking video. And again, it's exactly the kind of dumb shit that I love. Glidus cooking. Okay, yeah, here it is. He went to Babish's kitchen, the Binging with Babish kitchen, and like made some recipes from like this is like a George R.R. Martin recipe book. I don't know if it's actually written by him or if it's just like, let's take some recipes that existed in the Game of Thrones series and make a recipe for it so that a person could make it. And like, obviously this is the Binging with Babish kitchen. Make sure I'm on the right thing here. So yeah, just, it's exactly the kind of dumb shit that I love. I love him. Glidus, be my best friend, please. Be best friends with me. I know that you're already best friends with Alt Swift X, but fucking be my best friend. And let me emigrate to Australia. Oh my gosh. I always thought it was European dragons had 4 legs and Chinese dragons had 2. No, I mean, no. Basically, like, within European lore, it differs. It differs over time. It differs from one representation to another, even within the same time period. Like, they are... The answer is whatever the fuck you want. Do dragons... Oh, it's technically a wyvern if it's only got 2 legs. No. Guess what? They're all dragons. Suck my dick, dude. Like, that's ultimately the answer to that video is, like, how many legs should a dragon have? However many serves the purpose of the story you're telling. Later, owl. Good night. Empathizing as the little old man dog next to me is groaning as his pain meds kick in from dinner. Yeah. It's so much more difficult because so many cultures have their version. Like, yeah, and I'm saying, like, even within the one kind of culture, I mean, you know, I actually can't remember if Glidus stuck with just UK, like British history representations, or if he just did all European, because obviously there's some cultural differences between like Spain versus England, but obviously there was also a lot of like, in terms of heraldry, meaning it's like high class people and high class interactions, there's obviously going to be a lot of overlap in those groups because they are like marrying each other and hanging out with each other and stuff. So the Millet dragon, the dragon with 1,000 legs. Yeah, that would be terrifying. Just like scuttling around. It would be very annoying to be an author and have to build a full evolutionary lineage to justify having a creature you want in your story. Yeah. Like, obviously George Martin feels like his dragons have two legs because, he feels to some degree like he wants to stick to a kind of internally consistent, slightly more realistic leaning representation. But if it serves the purposes of your plot better, like for example, in the inheritance cycle, so like here's a big difference, right? Dragons that need to use their wings to walk are extremely limited in their mobility and tactical advantage on the ground, right? They have like almost no tactical advantage on the ground. They're very vulnerable on the ground. Whereas a dragon with 4 legs and the wings is more tactically advantaged on the ground. So like in the inheritance cycle, there are scenes where dragons are aerial battle and they are in ground battle. And so the ability for a dragon to like smack shit over or like grab and throw something, and the mobility and being able to keep the wings tucked into the body so that the wings don't get damaged during battle. Whereas like, yeah, if you're stomping around with your little proto hands, your little wrists or whatever up here, as the wings are all back here, you're vulnerable. Your wings are vulnerable, and that would be huge. Did you link any of these? No. So I didn't link any of them, but the channel is Glidus. Glidus. Let me make it bigger. It's Glidus. I'll just watch all of his videos. If you like Game of Thrones, it's very good. Very good. I enjoy it. It's good content. It's like people breaking down how kaiju can't biologically exist. Like, yeah, man, that was a real worry of mine. Yeah. Uncomfy, welcome to the site chat. Imagine trying to make a story point about people thinking it's a worm and then a plot twist is it's a Millidragon which needs to be defeated in a different way. Fair. Wait, what was your corn theory? About a dragon giving them some maize? Is that what you mean? I don't know if they address it. What else fun? What else fun is going on right now? I appreciate that you guys just let me bullshit about a thing that I enjoy. That's nice. I'm like, oh yeah, this YouTube creator. I want to change my color settings, my ISO, and my shutter speed. Oh, let's bring that up a little bit. Sure, that looks a little bit less flat, I guess. And the temperature. Change. Whoop, not too much. Change the temperature. Yay. It's crazy how being slightly closer or further away from my light changes my face, but that's a little bit better. I turned down the brightness of my light earlier, and I'm like, I can't. I'm very dim. Now it's better. Okay, there we go. Just making changes midway through stream. Quantum Chaos, you are so late. Why are you so late? I can't believe it. You're fired. This is how we discover new things to enjoy, listening to someone so exuberantly bubble on about it. Yeah. You won't like Glidus if you don't already like Game of Thrones. It's a very, this is what I like, content is so niche nowadays, not only because like, there's, let's say there's like 4 different streaming services. You pay for one, or maybe you get a bundle of 2 of them. And so you miss out on whatever you don't pay for. But even within that, there are creators who make content about and referencing all of those niche IP. And so, yeah, like my fandom of Glidus is completely dependent on my fandom of Game of Thrones more broadly. Excuse me. Question for you. If you were limited to food from the Americas or food from Europe, only what was available before contact, what would you choose, potato or tomato? I thought that the whole thing was that potatoes were also very recently discovered. So, and that would have been after contact, right? Am I right? Am I wrong? Am I losing my shit? Because like potatoes, like they were around, but nobody knew about them until fairly recently. Whereas like tomatoes and all nightshades and capsicums, were well known of in the old world, or sorry, yeah, in the new world. Congrats! Doing all of your coursework without your ADHD meds. Fuck yeah, dude. I have massive toothy pain. No. No toothy pain. Potatoes were from Peru. Were they? Okay, hold on. So are they both New World foods? Are potato and tomato both New World foods? New World crops. Potato is New World. They originated in the Americas. And moved over to Europe in the 1500s. New World crops. Let's fucking go. Wikipedia. New World crops. Underground stems. Potato. Potato is a New World food. Sweet potatoes are also New World. New sweet potatoes. Sweet potato is a root vegetable as opposed to an underground stem tuber thing. So yeah, they are also from the New World. Allspice is from the New World. Acai. I didn't know that. Damn. A lot of these foods. If you want to learn more about this in a much more fun and entertaining way, watch Glidus's video about corn. And he talks about all these different things. Like, George R. R. Martin references so many different food types that would not have been present in medieval Europe. So basically, you get a lot of this information. And like, when would this have, all this kind of shit. Nightshades invading old world recipes is infuriating to me as someone who is allergic to the entire family. My heart breaks for you. I'm so sorry. Ooh. Corn, tomato, peppers, avocados, and potatoes seems like the obvious choice. Yeah. Like, what even are your options for old world food? What literally even fucking is there? Hold on. I gotta know this. What are old world crops? What are they? There isn't a convenient fucking Wikipedia page in the way that there is for the other stuff. I don't know why this is so much harder to find. Fucking onions, cabbage, and bread, right? Yeah, bread. The AI overview, which I don't usually give a shit about, says that Eastern Hemisphere staples would have been like wheat, barley, oats, rice, and rye, as well as others such as sugarcane, coffee, bananas, and oranges. But wait, I thought bananas were like a South American thing. Hold on, these crops were not present in the Americas before the arrival of Europeans in 1492. Key part of the Columbian Exchange. Okay, so Columbian Exchange? The widespread transfer of plants, animals, and diseases between the New World and in the Western Hemisphere on the Old World from the 15th century on. Some of the exchanges were deliberate, while others were unintended. Okay, so like cattle was Old World, smallpox was Old World, syphilis was New World, interestingly. Smoking was a practice in the New World, apparently. That's so interesting. I'm just on Wikipedia. This is exactly the kind of dumb shit that I love. Okay, here. Post-Columbian transfers of cultivated... Oh, here we go. From the Old World to the New World, or New World to the Old World. So here's foods that were Old World to New World. Almond, apple, cabbage, citrus. Who the fuck is talking to me? Coffee, lettuce, melon. That's kind of surprising. Oat, olive, obviously olive. Onion, peach, pear, radish, rice, rye, sorghum, soybean, sugarcane, turnip, and wheat. Okay. They had some stuff to work with. You know, it wasn't like terrible, but also like clearly the introduction of these New World foods completely fucking revolutionized culinary art across the planet. Like, specifically the capsicums and all that. Like, the nightshades. I know that you guys don't love that. Y'all who are allergic and all, but, damn. I'm not used to seeing the phrasing New World foods. IDK how I feel about it as an American with native heritage. Yeah, I mean, this is the just existing framework of terminology that I'm using, and it's definitely problematic. But yeah, the idea is like that this was a big paradigm shift across the entire planet, that basically like the Eurasian continent and even Africa to a certain extent, like they all were mutually trading. And like, to be fair, I did learn more recently that like Native Americans were absolutely part of a global trade network. It's just that like, I guess it was lesser known to Europeans at the time. But there was very clearly like, there are glass beads used in Native American beading, and those glass beads were clearly fucking made in either India or I can't remember exactly where. I watched a video about it a while back. Really interesting stuff, though. Like, the idea that Native Americans were not part of a global trade economy is kind of fucking silly. So I guess that's part of why there is some issue to this whole Old World, New World thing. But, like, the invasion of the American continents were... you know, clearly that was a big turning point as far as like global colonization, like global populations, global economy. Old World foods, beige with the occasional splash of red. Listen, they had peaches and pears. They had sorghum. Like listen, you know. I would imagine most trade with the Americas was across the Bering Strait. I don't think so. I think it was just that there were ships. Like, I think that there were just, like, big fucking ships. Yeah, I don't think that it was limited in that way. Like, in the same way that, like, most of the trade between, like, you know, East Asia and Europe was not over ground. Like, it was almost entirely a ship trade thing situation. Like, consider how much like, I know it feels crazy that like it would literally be faster to go, like, okay, let me see if I can find something. Okay, here's just from this. This is from Wikipedia about the spice trade specifically, but like the trade going through here versus like the trade going down and around, like there was a decent amount of trade going down and around. or rather than, being able to come through, maybe do a short jaunt of like delivering your goods across this little bit of land here and then getting back up on the ship to go up the river. Yeah. Like here's this one. Different trade routes. So the world was quite connected. I don't know if there's any maps of like ancient, because this is one of those things that's like lesser studied and lesser known. Like how exactly was trade conducted with the Native Americans, but like the evidence tends to be in like okay, we found these beads in Native American art. Well, they weren't doing glass blowing, especially not of like this fine of detail and this small. So it's clear that there must have been trade with, okay, where else do we find those beads? We find them. Again, I can't remember where it was. Mersh! Hi! I have electricity and internet again, living off-grid, 100% solar powered. That's exciting. I'm really glad that you're getting your shit is all back together. Very cool. Good to have you back. Later, Fuzzy. We know Chinese sailors reached Central America more than once, and the South Pacific Islands had a whole trade network. Yep, totally. I think it's wild that a lot of the produce we consume now have been done through hybrids, some of which, like carrots, were poisonous before. Yeah, if you ever see anything in the... Okay, so you know what carrot greens look like? If you ever go to the farmer's market and you buy your carrots and they still have the greens attached, then you know kind of what that leaf structure looks like. If you ever see something that looks like carrot in the wild, don't fucking eat it. Frankly, don't touch it. It's not good for you. Don't burn it. Oh my god, don't burn it. But especially don't put it in a soup. Yeah, carrots, it's crazy how many things are closely related to carrots that are like, this will just kill you, or like it'll really ruin your day. Excuse me. Sweet potatoes made it to Polynesia from the Americas. There was contact between Polynesians and the natives of the Americas. Yeah, I would almost say that, like, they're not the same ethnic group, but they're pretty similar, aren't they? Like, culturally. But this is that's like literally what Moana is about. It's about the fact, and it's so true. It literally is historically true that the Polynesians used to have a globally seafaring culture and economy. And like, so Hawaiians are ethnically very similar or the same as Polynesians, because that is like part of the network of islands in the Pacific Ocean. So that's, yeah. And then for a period of time, and we don't really know why, but for like 1,000 years, Polynesians stopped shipping across the world. Like they stopped sailing across the world, and we don't know why. And then they started doing it again at some point, and I don't really remember. I googled all of this like a few years back, but isn't that so fascinating though, that Polynesians are connected to the Taiwanese natives? Okay, yeah. So it's, yeah, like Hawaiians and Polynesians, not Native Americans and Polynesians having a similar... Yeah. No more subscription, Pepe hands. Somebody peepo hands for me, please. Do I have a tiny peepo hands? Get some Pepe hands in the chat. Let's help out on Comfy. Oh, we do have peepo hands. Okay. I forgot about the peepos. I like history. Do, 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 do. I like learning. Do, 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 do. I like learning very specific things. I really don't want to just learn random shit. I'm like, my brain doesn't need that information. Please stop telling me things. Thank you. That's kind of how I feel sometimes when I'm like, when someone's like, here's a new piece of information, and I'm like, I don't want to know that. Tracking my packages, tracking my packages. When is the stuff gonna show up at my house? Bring me the stuff, I want it to come to my house. Come to my house. Packages that I have ordered for my kitty because he has arthritis and he's sad. God, again. It's December. Which is crazy. I wish that I was less depressed this entire fucking year. It's really a bummer that all of 2025 has been such garbage. But hey, you know what? We're getting close to a new year. Maybe we will turn things around. Turn the ship around. We're going to do it. We're going to turn it around. And 2026, oh my God, is going to be just like a way better year, babes. OMG, it's going to be a great year. It's going to be so fun. We're going to accomplish things, and there's going to be no fascism, and we will not need to think about any bad things or bad people ever again. Right? Am I right? Hell yeah, I'm comfy. Don't worry about it. The main spread of Polynesian culture originated from the same culture as the Taiwanese natives, who are a minority in Taiwan now that mostly Han Chinese people occupy the island. Okay, cool. Yeah. And sadly, like, I don't know as much about, like, Asian colonization either from my European perspective. Don't jinx it, blueberries. God. Why is it so hard to be a person? Why is it so hard to not touch your glasses right on their face? Why? Where did my fucking... Where? Oh, there it is. I found it. Full moon tomorrow is conjunct with Taurus, specifically the Pleiades. Is a full moon tomorrow? Ooh, that's exciting. I wonder if there's any kooky stuff I could do. What do you guys do when it's kooky time and it's full moon when you want to do it? Do not eat anything of a potato plant other than the tubers, and only if they are not green and sprouting. Are they toxic? I knew that, like, you weren't supposed to eat potatoes raw, right? You're not supposed to eat raw potatoes. When I was a kid, I loved to eat raw potatoes. I wonder why that's why I am the way that I am. Glasses aren't worth it mostly. I mean, I get a headache if I try to read without my glasses now that I've gotten used to having glasses. I do want to get new glasses this year, maybe. I blame capitalism. It's really easy to blame capitalism. You know? It's responsible for most of the bad things. It's super easy to blame it because it is responsible for most of the bad things. Bro, I wish I had someone else to shave my head too. I don't know why, but it's so difficult for me to do. I wonder if maybe I just need to be willing to take a lot longer doing it. Is like if I just do part of it and then I just put my arms both down for like 5 minutes and then I get back into doing it. Because by the end, I'm so sloppy and my arms hurt. I was all about raw potatoes as a small bean. Why? Yeah, why do children crave the potatoes? Why do children crave raw potatoes? AI Overview says children may crave raw potatoes due to sensory curiosity, exploring the texture and taste, or simply liking for the crunchy, earthy flavor. And I feel like I never got sick. I can't remember ever getting sick from it. Reddit. I'm reading a Reddit thread now about this. Okay, apparently Google said that an adult would have to eat 15 to 30 pounds of potato to risk toxicity. Interesting. They were, even in my memory, I'm like, actually, raw potatoes taste really good. Potatoes with green spots are more likely to contain the toxin solanine. The plant itself is also toxic. Okay. Random fun fact. The word potato is Kartoffeln. Kartoffeln in German. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm going to look it up now. Kartoffeln. Pronunciation. Come on now. Come on now.
You are looking at Julian's pronunciation. Let's learn how to pronounce this word from German, meaning potato or potato, potato in German. German pronunciation Kartoffel. Kartoffel. In English, you can say it as
Okay, that's fun. Potatoes. I ate them like apples, very earthy flavor, yet strangely juicy. Today I learned that tater toxicity was even a thing. True. So did you bite into it like an apple? Yeah, I think so. I think I would just eat one. Or maybe she would give me slices. But yeah, I would just eat it. They were delicious. I tend to think of The Martian now when I think of a bunch of potatoes. It's a great movie. I rewatch that movie like at least once a year. Maybe twice a year even. The face journey there was great. Cool, I wasn't paying attention to my face. Pums are fries in German. And like, pum means apple in... It's so funny. Pomme means apple in French, but pomme de terre is apple of the earth, which means potato. So then for German to have picked up pomme to mean French fries. In French, French fries are steak frites. Steak frites. That's crazy. Just came in here and I'm hearing my mother tongue. I'm loving it. Yeah, I don't speak German. I've never spoken any German, but like I took 3 years of French in high school. In my adulthood, I've tried to learn Spanish, but I have an appreciation for the German language. What's really funny is when an American is speaking in a German, when an American is speaking German, the American accent with the German words, to me, my ears, it sounds like I should be able to understand it, and I just can't. It's so strange. So like, but listening to an American speak German has that effect where I'm like, oh, I think I should be able to hear what you're saying. Like I should, it should resolve into speech that I can understand, and then it just never does. It's very, very strange. I ate oranges like apples for a while as a kid. Are you telling me that you ate the skin off of the oranges? You were a eat the oranges kind of orange skin. It's like when you learn that there's people who eat the kiwi skin, and you're like, are you okay, girl? Do you have anything we need to work out together? Yeah, German is funny because so many things become compound words. We've got plenty of compound words in English. We just do it less. Like favorite food in German, I guess, is all one word. Like favorite food, the 2 words, when you put them together, it's like that's the one word that means like favorite food instead of like my favorite food. Do people eat bananas with the peel? I don't think so. Candied orange skins are the best. I would love to try candied orange skins. I have, I've thought about making them myself, because sometimes you have a bunch of extra orange peels, and I already have like orange peel soaked vinegar ready for the next time I mop my floor. I'm the weirdo that eats kiwis whole, and also if lemon is sliced thinly enough, whole slices of lemon. I have eaten the peel of lemon before because it called for it in a recipe that I cooked. So it's like you cube up the entire lemon, including the peel, and like cook it, and it was pretty good. +1 for candied orange / lemon peels. Yeah. Grief bacon will forever be my favorite. Kummerspeck. What does that fucking mean? Grief bacon? What? Eating lemon is yum. I cut them into quarters. I just have a thing of powdered lemon, dehydrated lemon stuff, and I just put it into literally every bit of water. That's why if you ever see me, like, and you're like, why is your water glass so cloudy? It's because it's lemon zest. And I have to, like, even though I put this through the washing machine, or the dishwasher, you have to, like, actually scrub it or it won't come off because it's, like, the oil from the lemon zest. Grief bacon, kummerspeck, is the weight someone gains during the holidays. Fun. I need to cut my hair. Got this like little thing happening in the front of my head and I don't know why. Is that the souvenir cup from Disney Springs? I don't think so. It's just like a Coke glass. It's just a Coca-Cola glass. I'm sorry for your loss. Please enjoy this grief bacon. True. Yeah, those translation engines are tricky. We can just appreciate all of the wonderful variations of language on this planet. And the fact that we can never know all the languages. It's so hard to learn new things. Especially if you don't have anyone to practice with. I'm going to continue complaining about how I have no one to practice Spanish with. So I keep trying to learn Spanish and then I run out of steam after like a month or two. Because I have nobody to talk to. I got no friends. Nobody to talk to. Looking around at Discord for a second. Like, wait, did somebody text me? Do I need to care about this? What's going on? All right. Am I killing you with the food talk? Well, I'm about ready to leave anyway. Oh, that I don't have anybody to talk to? Oh, I kind of was on autopilot for a second there. What did I say? Something about how I have nobody to... Oh, I don't have anybody to talk to in Spanish. It's like, I don't know anybody who's learning Spanish right now. My friend who just moved up here said that he's interested in learning Spanish because, again, he just moved here and there's a shit ton of Spanish-speaking people and we all work in ways that are, like, related to trades and stuff. So it's beneficial to know how to speak Spanish. So I just got to hit up my friend and be like, yo, speak Spanish with me. Get some Duolingo. When I die, I'd appreciate it if you all had some grief bacon in my memory. Yeah. We're going to serve bacon at my funeral. It's also the only thing that's going to be served at my funeral. We'll have bacon and like some kind of vegetarian friendly bacon, but that's it. Nothing else at my funeral. Completely unacceptable. Okay, don't need that anymore. Okay, I feel like I made it a lot longer than I thought I was going to at the beginning of this stream. I was like, wow, yikes. I'm only going to be able to be here for like an hour because I feel terrible. But by sitting, we made it longer. I do feel like I'm scrunched down in my chair in a way that I wish that I had been paying more attention so I could be sitting up more. This is the thing about sitting in the chair, is like it encourages me to have terrible posture. But I have labeled it as Lux Bacon. True. Aprendí español en la trabajo. You're learning Spanish at your job. Aprendí? What? Did you just mix like aprendí? Anyway, I do feel better than I did at the beginning of the stream, I will say. So I feel a little bit better. My chest doesn't hurt as bad. I was really freaking out for a second there because it hurt really bad. But it feels better now. So that's good. And I'm glad that we got to chill for a few hours, have a good time. I will consider, I guess, like, if you guys want to make any suggestions in the Discord server for games that I could play during stream that I would be able to divide my attention between streaming and gaming, and like if there's anything that would be nice to have in the background or anything like that, let me know, because I could very well I could just have a game on the screen while we talk. It's not a big deal. But yeah, it's been a good hangout, and I hope that you all had a good night. And I am supposed to be on Takis tomorrow with Ben. And then I don't know if I'm doing Calling It Now with Jimmy, because Jimmy's been quite sick. So that's the plan for now, is like I'm gonna be at Takis tomorrow, and then I'm gonna stream, I think, my own stream on Sunday. And that's the next week or so. Power Wash Simulator. Ask Dr. Ben, he gets it. Okay. I'll ask him about it. I hear good things about Power Wash Simulator. Could be a lot of fun. But yes, thank you so much for hanging out, everybody. I hope you have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Bye.